The second imperative of ethics is the existence of freedom. Ethics will only become sensible, will only become relevant to the life of the human person if that human person is free. But why should be freedom considered as an imperative of ethics? Unsa may naa sa freedom nga it is considered man as an essential element, a fundamental requirement for ethics. Aside from the existence of God, freedom must also exist. Why? Nga man kaha sa inyong hunahuna, unsa may naa sa kagawasan that it is a requirement for ethics. Ethics needs freedom for ethics to become meaningful in the existence of the human person. Well, with freedom, there is responsibility. Of course, you understand what responsibility means. Are you a responsible person? When can you say that you are already responsible? Okay. So, in our family, in our house, ang usa ka anak, for example, mananghid nga moadto sa lungsod, for example, moadto sa sugod, and sometimes ang nanay or ang tatay would not give permission to the child who is asking permission to go to the town. Tungod kay dili pa siya kasaligan, dili pa siya responsable ng pagkabata. So, without that sense of responsibility, then that child cannot be trusted. Okay? So, in the context of freedom, there is responsibility. And when we speak of responsibility, it is being answerable to your actions. Okay? Kung ang usa ka tawo responsable, siya maoy manubag sa mga consequences sa iyang mga gipangbuhat. Okay? So for example, with freedom, no, na ako'y kagawasan, ahong gigamit ang cellphone sa ahong office mate. I used that cellphone with freedom. Nobody compelled me, nobody forced me to use the cell phone. It is with my own volition. It is with my own intention, free, no, without force. I used the cell phone of my office mate. And then in the process of using the cell phone, naguba ang cellphone kay nahug, nabuhian naho og nahug, ug syempre nabuka ang cellphone. So because of that, the owner of the cell phone can demand something from me. No? Pwede nga ijang paalisdan ang cellphone naho. No? Ako mismo ang muili sa cellphone kay ako may nakaguba, or ahong bayaran ang kantidad sa cellphone. Ako gihapon. Tungod kay I used the cellphone freely. With freedom, I am responsible to my action. It would be different, no? The scenario would be different if I am using the cell phone of my office mate under pressure, no? Or there is force when I use the cell phone. What kind of force? For example, gitiunan ko og pusil. So, siguro there are hold-uppers na mga tulisan who are able to enter our office, and so sa ilang pagpanulis, they instructed me to call the manager of the office or perhaps the cashier so that she can also open the vault where the money are kept. So I am forced to use the cell phone of my colleague, of my office mate, under pressure. Gitiunan ko og pistula aron gamiton ang cellphone sa ahong office mates. Now, in the process, tungod sa ahong kahadlok, ahong nabuhian ang cellphone ug ang cellphone nabuak, naguba. Am I responsible to that cellphone nga naguba? Am I answerable sa nahitabo? No. Because when I used the cell phone, it was not done out of freedom. I was forced. I was compelled. In fact, gitiunan ko og pistula. Mao na nga, whatever the consequences of my action, I am not responsible to it. I am not answerable to it because there is the absence of freedom. Okay? So, freedom is important in ethics because through freedom, we become responsible to our action. We are responsible to our deeds. Okay? So, with this freedom, but pasabot nga dunay rason or it is just justifiable if ever we are being punished because we are just paying for the consequences of our wrong deeds because we did it freely. So, sa tanang mga butang, sa tanang mga aksyon, sa tanang mga lihok nga atong gihimo in the spirit or in the atmosphere of freedom, then we are all responsible to it. We are responsible to it. So have you seen the relevance and importance of freedom to ethics? Nasabtan ba? Unsa ka importante ang kagawasan diha sa ethics? Sa pagbuhat sa mga butang, sa pagbuhat o sa atong mga lihok diin aton ning gihimo nga dunay tay kagawasan, kining mga lihok, kaning nga mga butang responsibilita, and it is with responsibility that we become answerable. No, kita maoy manubag sa mga lihok nga atong gihimo nga there is freedom. Lahi kung gipugos ka, lahi kung you are doing something because there is external force, gipugos ka, gitiunan kag pistula, under pressure, wa kay freedom ni ana. So kung miingon ang tulisan o ang tao nagtiun nimo og sundang buka ng baso, kung imong buka ng baso, you are not responsible to it. Tungod kay gisugo lamang kaniadto. Unlike if in your personal intention and in freedom, imong gibuka ang baso nga worth 20,000 pesos, then that would be a different thing. That would be a different case. The nature of the deeds with freedom would be very different with the nature of an action, of a deed that is without freedom. So in ethics, freedom must be present. And that is why ethics is only applicable to human person because it is the human being who experiences freedom. No? Kitarang mga tao ang naka-experience o kagawasan because of our intelligence. Okay? Because with our intelligence, we are able to choose and decide what we want to do. Mukaon ba ka or dili? Mo eskwela ba ka or dili? Mo lakaw ba ka or dili? We always have a choice in our action. That is why only human beings are truly free. Animals, they do not enjoy freedom. Seemingly, they enjoy freedom, but in reality, they don't. because they operate under instinct. It is instinct that controls their behavior. They cannot choose. They cannot decide. Their actions and behaviors are based on instinct. Unlike man, that we are using our intelligence, our intellect to decide and to choose. Much more, ethics cannot be applied to robots because robots are not free individuals or free things. No? Ang mga robots seemingly, labi na karon, we have artificial intelligence. We are already in Industry 4.0 or in the first world countries. The rich countries, they are already in Industry 5.0 or 6.0. There is already this artificial intelligence, robotics, and everything. These things are not free because they don't have the capacity and the faculty to think and to decide. Their actions are based on the program, no, the design of their program. Ethics is truly applicable only exclusively to human beings because we are the only ones who are truly free with our intelligence. So the third imperative of ethics is the existence of the afterlife. No? Afterlife. So it is a fundamental belief that our life in this earth, in this world, is only temporary. That after our life here on earth, there is another life called the afterlife. Okay? So we have to understand that with ethics, dili lamang dinhi kutob sa kalibutan ang atong kinabuhi. After this world, there is another life. And why should afterlife exist according to ethics? Why is it considered or why is it considered as an imperative? Ganong naaman jud dapat ang perhaps paraiso ba na or impierno ba na? So these are the concepts of the afterlife. It's either paradise or hell. Why should these realities or why should these concepts exist? Ano man? Anong kinahanglan mga jud na ay impierno or na ay paraiso? What are these places for? Remember that there is the existence of God, and it is God who will reward those who are doing good, and He will also punish those who are doing evil. The punishment and the rewarding will not happen in this world. Take note that our life in this world is only temporary. The longest that we can live in this world perhaps is 100 years or 90, and there are already a lot of young men and women who died at the age of 20 because of accidents. So life here in this world is only temporary. But after this temporary life, there is an everlasting life afterwards. And this kind of life can either be enjoyed in the kingdom of heaven or will have an eternal suffering in hell. So it is in heaven or it is in hell that the punishment or the reward can be experienced. There can be no punishment and reward in this world while we are still alive. Reward and punishment can only happen in the afterlife. So these are the three imperatives of ethics that must exist: the existence of God, the existence of freedom, and the existence of the afterlife. All these three must be present so that ethics will become meaningful. Dunay purpose, dunay gamit, no? Kay without these imperatives, then there is no sense why we should study and why should we observe ethical standards.